And a good Friday night, everybody. Chris McDonald with you. We are glad to have you back for a final show of the week, final show of the day. This is our third one. Actually, if you count the Bible study this morning, we had a special guest on, Jenny. I keep calling her Jenny. She's going to kill me. Glennie McDonald Sims. No relation. We hadn't had Glennie on for almost 5 years now. The last time we had her was the 75th anniversary of D-Day, but we were graciously honored to have her on today, and we hope that you all that joined us enjoyed that little short interview. She was live from Normandy, France, and her group, the Normandy Remembers Project, works hand in hand with a lot of other projects. Gary Sinise, his group, and other big-name fundraisers that help remember our veterans. She was just absolutely fantastic, and I hope you enjoyed her today. To give us a little inside look as to what went down yesterday was the 80th anniversary of the invasion in Normandy, France, Omaha Beach, France, there, June the 6th of 1944, that really changed the course of the world. Honestly, it changed the course of the 20th century in many ways, because had we not won that conflict and not done what we did, it is a good possibility that we may all be speaking German tonight. And I've said that often, and I know it sounds like a broken record, but it's really the truth. But Glennie did here I go again. Yeah, Glennie, that's right. Glennie did a great job this evening. I'm gonna have to get. I'm beginning to be like Joe Biden. I'm gonna have to get some cue cards and put in front of me. Glennie and the names out there. Always, I'm terrible with names sometimes. But we're grateful that you're with us tonight. We're not going to keep you long, but we got a few videos, a few funnies to share with you tonight. It's Friday night. It's free for all. We relax here. You know, Chris might get a little wired up. My wired up night was Tuesday night. I was pretty hot under the collar Tuesday night about some things, and I'm a little more calm tonight. But we're going to go over some headlines and get your input on some of this later. And we're grateful everybody's in the house tonight. Looks like our audience in YouTube is picking up, and we've also got a good crowd in Facebook already tonight, and so forth. And our ex-audience, so forth. Now, I want to start with the headlines first, and then we're going to go to the memes. Big story of the day, a couple of big stories of the day. Biden is still in France with the Macrons, and they're at a big state dinner tonight. But the bigger news was what he did while he was over there yesterday, and me and Glennie talked about it this afternoon at 5. Instead of him honoring our veterans, he basically turned it into a fundraiser for Ukraine. And it was very despicable what he did, to be honest with you. And we'll get your thoughts on that a little bit later. But it was not a good look for our country, to be frank with you. I told Glennie, and I'll say it to you tonight, the French president, and I'm not a socialist, folks. France is a very socialist country. I wouldn't agree with probably 5 things Emmanuel Macron believes in. Probably not even less than that. But I do respect the man tonight a great deal more than I did probably before yesterday, because he did honor our American vets. And to be frank with you, he honored our vets more so than our own president did. And he went out of his way. The media over here tried to sort of throw shade on him this morning. Even on the right, claimed he was 2 hours late, and Glennie sort of cleared that up. He wasn't really late. He was waiting on somebody else that was late that should have been there. It wasn't him. And the media took hold of that, and they sort of threw shade on him. So it's just why you don't listen to the media, and you don't listen to garbage, and you don't listen to slander, and you don't listen to lies. You just pass it off and move on. There's an old joke. How do you know a lawyer's lying? His lips are moving. What do you call 20,000 lawyers at the bottom of an ocean? A good start. What do you call 20,000 press people at the bottom of an ocean? A good start. I don't mean that to be mean, but it's truth. Same way with the media, folks. If they open their mouth, you got a 50-50 shot of what they're saying is true. And most of the time it ain't. And if it is true, it's being spun in a way to push an agenda that they always push. And it's why this country is in the state it's in. Me and Eric talked about this last night. You know, I've gotten to the point about the media. I don't even blame them no more. I don't. I think that there has been enough done in the media that people by now should know the game. They should know the gig. We have been through hell itself for the last 4 years in this country, with the coconut jab, with the C-19, with the election situation in 2020, with the lies about Donald Trump during his presidency from 2016 to 2020, the Russia collusion farce, the 2 impeachments. They even impeached him after he got out of office, trying to get him. This lawfare. We got a story about that tonight. Something happened today, and it's not good for the defense. It's not good for the prosecution. It's not good for the court, and it very well could mean that the verdict that was rendered is going to be thrown out, and I'll get to that more in a minute. And Marshawn has had to eat crow a little bit because of his laxity in his courtroom. Something happened today with one of those jurors, and we'll talk about that here in a minute, and we'll get your thoughts on that as well tonight. All right. I could talk on, but I want to get to these headlines because I do want to show you a few comical things too as well tonight. I want it to be a light Friday night. I just, what was I saying? The media. If the media, I put it like this, if there's people out there believing what the media says at this point, the problem ain't no longer the media. The problem is no longer the media. You know, we have an old saying down here in the South, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. You fool me 100 times, we both need to be in an insane asylum. So if people are dumb enough to listen to the media at this point and believe a word that's coming out of their mouth, and I'm not just saying about the left media, folks, I'm talking about all of them, because Fox ain't no better. Fox is no better. I've watched them this week a little bit, and, you know, I cringe. They are pushing the Ukraine. They think Russia's the big bad guy. They think Putin's the devil still. They are almost sympathetic to that Biden said what he said yesterday on that stage about the Ukraine. Sean Hannity, of all people, he was trying to tell President Trump, well, you don't need to do nothing against the justice system. If you get into office, you don't need to do anything negative about the people that have done this to you. And I totally disagree. I'm not saying he's got to go out of his way to break the law or be vindictive, but he needs to clean this justice system out. It's what got him in trouble the first time. His 2 attorney generals that he appointed were as worthless as this little sticky right here, even though that little pad of stickies right there that I use sometimes to remember things. But I'm being frank with you tonight, folks. The attorney generals that Trump put in did not help him. And if he don't clean this justice system out and put somebody in there that knows what they're doing, we're going to be right back here in 4 years. We will. I predict that. All right. Let's look at the news headlines tonight. I want to talk about a few things, and we're going to go through these quickly. I'm going to read the headlines, give a few comments, save your comments till the end and your questions. We're grateful you're with us on this Friday night. We are, I do want to come back over here. I want to come back over here and say something. We are actually, wrong screen there. We are going to be headed to K-Star Radio. Talked to Angelina a little bit this afternoon. We are, the McFiles program itself, at first, what we're going to be doing is changing the audio, the video shows into audio files, which will take us some days to do, but then we send those in. And at start, you'll hear the replay actually on the McFiles on audio form there, There will be some nights that we'll be free to go live late. So I think it's a 10 o'clock time frame, 10 to 11. So when we're done early here, we go right into K-Star. And it'll be a little bit more easier format. If you've noticed, the interviews have been a lot more audio lately than video. We're trying to sort of segue into that. It's easier to get people on the phone because a lot of them are a little conscious about the video, and it takes most people don't understand the technical stuff that we have to do. We produce our own shows here, and this show tonight, we're going to be actually converting over to a format for audio, and hopefully they can use it for one of the shows next week. But anyway, look for us on K-Star Radio. We'll give you some more details about that very soon. All right, let's go to our news headlines. Did you hear about this one? This is interesting. Mr. George Clooney, there's his wife. He's a little PO'd tonight. He is a little PO'd. He called the White House ticked off today to defend, because Biden threw shade at the International Criminal Court that is trying to indict Benjamin Netanyahu. And George Clooney's wife, Amal Clooney, who works in the field of international human rights, she worked with the chief prosecutor, Kareem Khan, who specifically thanked her in her public statement on the indictment. Both Israel and the U.S. have rejected that indictment. Well, it didn't sit well with Mr. Clooney, the actor, and he's a clown. But according to the Washington Post, Clooney called Steve Ricchetti, the counselor to the president, to express concern. That's the word for it. He expressed more than concern, from what I hear, about Biden's denunciation of arrest warrants sought by ICC prosecutors for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, especially his use of the word outrageous. Clooney is due to host a fundraiser later this month for Biden in L.A. Biden is skipping a Ukraine peace summit to raise money from Hollywood. Let me say something about that story tonight, folks. Whoops, I keep coming back to the wrong screen. Let me tell you something. Why would Joe Biden want to have to raise money in Hollywood, of all places? That should tell you, California folks, you that are listening to me out there tonight, California's in play. California's in play. Now, I'm not going to get fired up just yet about this voting stuff. I'm going to save it at the end, and I'm going to go out with a bang. Californians, they're worried about you out there. I know you got a big hill to climb, because L.A., San Diego, San Francisco, Sacramento are 4 power centers, population centers. And it's tough to overcome the votes in those cities. It just is. But I believe you can do it. Look, if Ronald Reagan can win California in 1984, I believe Donald Trump can win it in 2024. They're worried, or he wouldn't be out there in Hollywood raising money. Now, I know some of that money he's getting for his general campaign to come. But I find it very funny that he screws the veterans over in Normandy for Zelensky, and now he's going to screw Zelensky over for Hollywood. That's the kind of president that I hope you Dems are proud of tonight, that's running this country. And all you Biden supporters and all you Trump haters, I hope you're proud of that. I hope it just makes your heart swell with pride that you got a president doing that kind of stuff. I'm no fan of Zelensky. I think it was a disgrace what Biden did yesterday, but I find it intriguing that at the first drop of a hat, he's gone now to L.A. next month. But isn't it going to be interesting, and wouldn't you like to be a fly on the wall when George Clooney and him shake hands out there at that fundraiser? Because Biden ain't going to be able to play both sides here. And he's going to have to make a choice. He's either going to betray Israel, or he's going to have to betray Hollywood. And my money is he's going to betray Israel. That's what I believe. I may be wrong, but we'll follow that story. But it is interesting that Clooney got upset. And I would say something about that, but I won't. By the way, Attorney General Merrick Garland will defend and should I take that back, defy the GOP congressional subpoenas. He said he will not do the subpoenas he does not agree with. Garland's statement came after Republican leaders threatened to hold him in contempt in their efforts to gain audio recordings from special counsel Robert Hur's investigation into Biden's handling of classified materials, according to the Washington Post. Now, what's so ugly about this, he repeatedly requested Garland, supposedly, for the president to claim executive privilege on the recordings, fearing that releasing them could harm future efforts to get officials to cooperate with investigations and sit for taped interviews. Speaking before the House committee, he accused Republicans of seeking contempt as a means of obtaining for no legitimate person sensitive law enforcement information that could harm the integrity of future investigations. This effort is only the most recent in a long line of attacks on the Justice Department's works, he claims. And he says, we will continue to do our jobs free from political influence and will not back down from defending democracy. Garland, please don't say words that you don't understand and words that you can't even spell. And this intimidation is a joke. He's weaponized the Department of Justice. He's done it targeting Trump. He's done it targeting conservatives. I'm going to come back over here and say something about that. Wrong screen again, just for a second here, and then I'll be back here. Let me tell you this, folks. Steve Bannon is going to the jail tonight. He's got a report in 3 weeks, July 1st, for the very same thing. He defied a Democrat committee subpoena on J6, about J6. He said, I ain't going to come in there and tell you. Nothing. They put him in jail. They sued him all the way to the court. I'm asking the Republican Party tonight, where in the hell are you? If they do this to Steve Bannon for the same thing, I don't care if Garland is the Attorney General of the United States. Put his ass in jail. And they should. But they're not. They're not. He will get away with this, and Steve Bannon will go to jail for 4 months. He will not be out till November for doing the same thing. There is no justice in this country. And yes, it is unfair. And yes, I'm mad. And yes, you should be mad. We all should be mad. We should be upset about it. But really, ain't much we can do about it until these Republicans get some kahunas down here and stand up, and some Republican lawyers and some Republican attorneys, attorney generals and district attorneys in states do their federal attorney, I should say the federal U.S. attorneys do their job and file charges against U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland, because as they all claim on the left, nobody's above the law. That's been their linchpin statement since Trump got convicted. Nobody's above the law. Well, guess what, A.G. Garland? That means you, Merrick. That means you too. But being that we've got a dual justice system, we've got more than a dual justice system, folks. We've got a 4-tier justice system. There's so many tiers of justice tonight. Good luck. Good luck. I don't know how many tiers of justice we got, but it sure ain't one. It sure ain't one. We'll follow that story. Don't hold your breath. Ain't nothing going to happen. Netanyahu, by the way, I don't know if you knew this, he's going to be addressing a joint session of Congress. He'll be here July 24th at the behest of congressional leaders, certainly not Joe Biden. The move comes more than a week after Mike Johnson announced that he would speak at the Capitol. Netanyahu, it would be a joint statement. The existential challenges we face, including the growing partnership between Iran, Russia, and China, threaten the security, peace, and prosperity of our countries and of free people around the world. Schumer, Jeffries, and Mitch McConnell has told Israel to hold new elections to replace Netanyahu, claiming the leader has lost his way. Let me give Mr. Schumer a little bit of friendly advice. If I was Benjamin Netanyahu, keep your blanking nose out of our business. That's what if I was Netanyahu, I'd tell Schumer that. You're not an Israeli, Chuck. You're an American citizen. Shut the blank up. Just shut up. Because you don't have any right to tell Israel what to do with their elections. You can't even run the Congress as Senate Majority Leader, Chuck. You can't tie your shoe. You can't get through one sentence. You don't even have a hold on your own Senate House. So why are you telling Israel to run their business? But Benjamin Netanyahu is coming to America July 24th. Hey, Benjamin, Prime Minister, if you're listening tonight, which 99.99% million chance you're not. But just in case you are, come on to McFiles. I'll give you 2 hours to say whatever you got to say. I won't even be like Fox. I won't censor you. And I'll just let you tell the world in America what's going on over there. We'd love to have him. We'd be honored to have him. Got more to say about that, but I'm trying to be nice tonight. It's Friday free for all, but I'm trying to be calm because I'm going to save my fire for later. Benjamin Netanyahu coming to America, July 24th. We need to be praying for that. Did you see this? Goodness gracious. Illegal aliens was marching through Times Square today, chanting abolish ICE. They were reportedly marching through New York City's Times Square. Video footage shared online Thursday showed a sea of people walking through the area in the middle of the street as the group marches. The chant of abolish ICE rings out before the crowd erupts into cheers. Here's the video. Watch it. That is not in the Middle East, folks. That's not in Mexico. That is in the Big Apple. The Big Apple. I tell you what. You don't like the way things are in this country, illegals? I've got a surefire solution for you. If you don't like the conditions in this country that you came in here illegally and lawlessly to inhabit, why don't you take yourself back to your country? I'm sure there ain't no ICE people there. That's just a friendly piece of advice from the host of the McFiles tonight, Bathtub Gin Chris. I want to say it again. You don't like the way things are here in this country, illegals. You don't like the Strangler, and you don't like staying in conditions that ain't humane, as some of you claim, and all this crap. And it infuriates me what we're doing for these illegals, folks, and our veterans. We're honoring the veterans this week because of D-Day. You look at what the government of this country is doing for illegals as compared to what our veterans are having to struggle with and their families have to struggle with. It is an abominable, damnable shame. It is absolutely shameful, the two things. But to you illegals, if you don't want ICE, I've got a great solution for you. Go back to Mexico. You got a new female president down there. I'm sure she'll be glad to have you. She just kills off her competition. 37 candidates that ran against her are dead tonight. But hey, you won't have ICE worried about, will you? Nope. You sure won't. What a mess. I don't know if you heard about this today. It's very troubling. Google blacklisted PragerU. That's the app. The conservative app from Play Store for hate speech, and they have updated this. Google gave in to the pressure, and they put it back in the store. They accused the organization of hate speech over its documentary, Dear Infidels, a Warning to America. We do not allow apps that promote violence or incite hatred against individuals or groups based on race or ethnic origin, excuse me for laughing, religion, disability, age, nationality, veteran status, sexual orientation, gender identity, or other characteristics that is associated with systemic discrimination or marginalization. The tech giant said of its hate speech apology. But let me tell you something, any app on Google that hates Christians, we want you here. We're going to give you a 4-star rating. Don't you love those statements that we're not going to discriminate against any group of people, except when it comes to Christians and conservatives and Trump folks? And I don't know what I know what the infidel thing is. It has a tie to Islam because they consider those that don't bow down in submission as infidels. That's their term for us. They slay the infidels. That's in the Quran. And I like Prager. I like Dennis Prager. I don't agree with his theology on some things, a lot of things, but I like Dennis. He's a conservative guy. He's a little naive. I remember him saying during the election that he was not convinced the election was, I got to find another word. the election was changed. I'll just leave it at that. Until after he saw the 12 Mule documentary, or How Many Ever Mules by Dinesh D'Souza. But I find it absolutely hilarious when Google puts stuff out there like that we don't discriminate against any group. And basically all PragerU is doing is trying to tell the truth about Islam. But that's hate speech. Now, if an Islamic group was if they had an app, if there was an Islamic group that had an app on Google, and they put a documentary together that said all Christians are white supremacists, and all Christians are bigots, all Christians are racist, the Trump people, the MAGA people are racist, MAGA is bad and evil and all this stuff, I guarantee you they wouldn't be putting that out there about them. I'll let you chime in on that later. But I hope PragerU sticks to their guns and goes after them, but they need to, because that's not right. But it's Google's dojo, but they did give into it, the pressure, and thing. By the way, U.S. economy added 272,000 jobs in May, shutting the door on rate cuts early this summer. And basically, they were hoping the Federal Reserve was going to cut rates a little bit for the homeowners. And there was strong hiring in May and a small decline in the labor force participation rate. The unemployment rate actually is about 3.9 to 4%. The economists had forecast those jobs to grow up by 182, and they have added about 249,000 jobs over the last 3 months. But let me give you some advice on these figures, folks. Listen, a lot of that number, unfortunately, is illegal alien workforce. I was reading a story tonight, right before I came home, and they were breaking that number down. And because of the influx of these illegals, somehow or another, like if you go on a farm or you go on a job as an illegal, you're undocumented, and they're not going to pay, they ain't got to pay Social Security tax on you or anything like that because you're not even a citizen. And that saves the companies a lot of money, and they can pay you $2 an hour, $3 an hour for cheap labor, slave labor is what it is. Well, they count that kind, and then you show that you hired somebody. It doesn't tell you what kind of jobs these are. I can tell you they're not good paying jobs. I got to say something. With everything going on in this country right now, has any of you not seen that you go to a restaurant, you go to a grocery store, you go to a theater, you go to a any place of business, they've got a big sign, now hiring. There's not one excuse for people not to be working. There's not one excuse for people to be sitting at home not being able to find work. I know this is going to sound cold. I don't mean for it to sound cold. He that don't work, don't eat. He that don't work, don't eat. And it's not the government's job. It's not the church's job. It's not anybody's job to feed your family if you can physically work. Now, I know that offends some people because I've been told it offends some people in the past. But he that don't work, don't eat. That's why we have a welfare state that has developed in this country that is crippling businesses, folks. And these figures, and I guarantee you, June 27th, Joe Biden is going to quote that figure and tell you how great Biden economics are. And we're going to show you more about what they are in a minute. But don't be deceived by that number. Even though they predicted 182 and it was 272 or whatever, it's not the fact the economy is doing good. It has nothing to do with that. But they're counting this illegal workforce. I can guarantee you there ain't many Americans that are in that number. All right. Haven't lost you yet, have I? I ain't even gotten ugly tonight. That's patty cake stuff compared to what's coming. All right. By the way, you Maryland folks, I'm sure you're proud of this, but Miss Maryland crowned their first transgender winner. I knew it would mean a lot for all the LGBTQ kids out there, was the quote of the Miss Maryland winner, Bailey Ann Kennedy. I'm not going to say a lot about this. It's perversion, folks, but she's a biological male who now identifies as a woman. She'll go on to compete in the Miss USA competition set for August 4th in LA. I'm going to tell you this. I predict this, folks. I believe we're going to wind up at some point with a transgender winner of that pageant. I do. I just see it coming. I don't doubt. Look, we've got them in government. And folks, I'm not saying this in judgment. It's just the state of the nation. It's the state of the world. It's the state of the perverse condition of the society that we live in. People are celebrating that tonight, and we shouldn't be celebrating that. We should be ashamed of it. We should be ashamed of it. But we're not. We're not. We're not. We don't even blush about it. We don't even blush about it. And this comment that Bailey made is even more sick. They're targeting the kids. They're targeting the kids. You see that statement? This is a big win for the LGBTQ kids. That's who they're targeting. That's who they've always targeted. That's who they've always targeted. Very disturbing. Very disturbing. Anyway, next, final one. This is a very important story here, I think, coming up here. Let me get this out of the way. This is the story I was telling you about. And I'm going to read some of this off Breitbart tonight. This came in late this afternoon. George Marchand notified the Trump attorneys that the prosecution of social media posts giving away the jury verdict. Judge Juan Marchand, who oversaw former President Donald Trump's business records trial, warned Trump's attorney Todd Blanche and Manhattan District Attorney Joshua Steinglass of a comment from someone claiming to be the cousin of one of the jurors. In a letter addressed to Blanche, Marchand revealed that the court had been made aware of a comment posted to the Facebook page for the Unified Court System in which a Facebook user revealed the jury's guilty verdict, get this, a day before Trump was convicted. Today, the court became aware of the comment that was posted, and I wanted to bring it to your attention, he wrote in his letter. He added that the Facebook user with the name Michael Anderson left a comment stating, my cousin is a juror, and said that Trump is getting convicted. And Justice Marchand, there's the tweet from Kyle Cheney. He says, thank you folks for all your hard work. So they were bragging about this. Now, we've got some legal people coming on next week. Laura Mills is going to be with me Thursday night. Hopefully Nick Giordano, Professor Nick, is going to be with me Tuesday night. We've got a good friend, Judge Sherilyn Allen. She's going to be with me one night next week too. We may have a double feature show. But the bottom line is, folks, if this is true, and it's not a troll, and that was the rest of this story in Breitbart, they're trying to determine if that was just a troll post, because we get those in here sometimes too, but if it's legitimate, then that is jury interference. And I'm going to tell you something, that is grounds for that case to be thrown completely out. I'm going to get the legal people. It's a little bit above my pay grade, but my personal opinion, that is jury tampering, that is jury interference. Those are grounds, not just for an appeal. That is grounds for an immediate suspension of anything that happened in that trial. You cannot do that. You're not supposed to do that. And this is what the travesty of it is. Marchand let those jurors go home over the weekend. And he acted like that they were going to show great character. And he says, don't get on social media this weekend. Don't call your family. Don't contact anybody. And he let them go home instead of keeping them there to do their job. And this happened. And it's his own fault. If this gets thrown out, it's his own fault. Because if the jurors would have been stuck in that room, I don't know if it had made any difference. But his attempt to be lenient on the jurors and the prosecution is going to backfire on him, and this is going to blow up in their face. I'm not saying it's going to matter. I don't know if it's going to make a difference, but I personally believe it will. And I'm going to get justice people in here to talk about it. Professor Nick, I'm praying he can come Tuesday night. I'm praying he can come Tuesday night because he's been out there doing a lot of good work about this, and he's going to talk with us about this. on Tuesday night. But that's big news. We're going to follow this story. This is a developing story that's happened late this evening. And if true, this alone would be the linchpin to say bye-bye to the sham trial. Here's a few things. Here's a few things. Let's see here. I need to download something real quick, folks. Give me 1 minute here. I want to download something. Let's see here. There we go. It showed up. Good. Boy, we've had some trolls in the house lately. Let me show you a couple things from Babylon B, but I wanted to do Tony Branco's cartoons first, but we've got some other things we're going to show you tonight. This was back in Memorial Day. He said this long weekend of barbecues, friends, family, and freedom was brought to you by our fallen vets, including those of D-Day. Here's a good cartoon. Beware the dog. The Democrats, all fair, don't worry, he's toothless. We talked about this last week. The strongly worded letters. No teeth in the bark. Just a lot of barking by the Republicans. I got to say something about that, folks. Listen to me. If Merrick Garland gets away and defies those subpoenas and does not go to jail, it is a travesty of justice, but I don't blame the Dems for that. I don't blame Merrick Garland for that. I blame the Republicans. I blame them. If Steve Bannon spends 1 day in jail and Merrick Garland goes free, it's on the Republicans. This ain't on the Dems. This ain't. I don't agree with what they did to Steve Bannon. I don't. I think it's a travesty. But if they're going to treat him this way and give him 4 months, at the very minimum, Merrick Garland should be held to the same standard. But the Republicans won't do it. All right. A couple of others. Lawfare, by the way, speaking of the polls, good cartoon there. That came out today by Branco. Virginia, they're tied. He's up in Nevada. Trump is. Up in Michigan, Wisconsin. And there's indication that Pennsylvania is very, very close. It's 1 point or 2 points max that Biden may be leading. But there's a lot of polls in Pennsylvania showing Trump is up in Pennsylvania. He's definitely up in Georgia. So their lawfare has backfired, and the polls are going up in Joe's space, and that is one reason why he's out in L.A. this week fundraising with the Hollywood bunch and screwing over Zelensky, his good old extortion buddy, in the Ukraine. All righty, your screen's going to go black just for a second. Have no fear. We've got others. Here's the Babylon Bee. I love the Babylon Bee. My brother loves it too. Aides are beginning to put googly eyes on Biden so that he looks like he's paying attention. That is from the Babylon Bee folks. I better get my glasses on because some of these I better be careful what I put on the screen. I haven't read all of them. Some of them I have. By the way, here's another one. Here's another good one. Biden announces the plans to pretend to care about the border until November the 6th. We talked about this Tuesday night. You know, we was trying to get Rolando Rodriguez on. We're going to get Rolando on here soon, too, and Marie Miller, our border panel. Biden passed this executive order. I was listening to the right networks this morning, the right-wing networks, and they were acting like this was the greatest thing under the sun. Folks, it's a sham. He is no more going to enforce that border. I mean, the damage has already been done for 4 years, man. You know why these job figures are so far up? They're giving the jobs to the illegals. They're not giving it to the American citizens. And then he's acting like he's going to care about the border now and that he's doing the Republicans' job. That's the biggest joke in the world. But he'll care about it till November the 6th, and then it will go back if he gets reelected. God forbid if that happens, but if it happens, it will happen. He'll care about it till then, and then that will be it. Here's another good one. by the Babylon Bee. I love this one. Whoops, wrong screen there. Let me come back over here to this screen. Biden drops first bomb in Normandy in 80 years. Now, for those of you that don't understand the joke, there are rumors that when he was bending down like that, there was something coming out the backside. I mean, there was literally an article I saw tonight, did Biden poop in his pants on the stage in Normandy? I'm not joking. I'm not trying to be funny. I mean, that's exactly what he said. I mean, it's just, as Jason Miller says to me all the time, Chris, we just can't make this stuff up. And we can't make this stuff up. But the Babylon Bee took note of it, and they said that's the first bomb that's been dropped on Normandy in 80 years. I'm not making fun of you, Normandy folks. We love you guys. We really do. By the way, I love this one by the Babylon Bee. I'm just going to come over here. The White House claims your inability to afford groceries is misinformation. Just like the Hunter Biden laptop is misinformation. I ain't even mentioned the Hunter Biden trial. I'm waiting for James R. Monday night. Me and him are going to talk about that Monday night. By the way, speaking of the Hunter Biden trial, his girlfriend sold him down the toilet today. The defense had tried to claim that he had not been smoking crack during that time that he's filled out that gun form. Well, the ex-girlfriend said he smoked crack every 20 minutes during the time that he was getting his guns. He was smoking crack every 20 minutes. So I'm just a South Georgia boy. If he was smoking crack every 20 minutes, that's sort of likely that he was smoking crack when he put that on there, I'm not smoking crack. And his baby mama said that Joe, she literally called him Deadbeat Joe. Speaking of the granddaddy, he's never even seen his grandson. He's not even seen him. Lovely bunch. But they're trying to tell us that Biden economics is working. I'm going to get your input on this about these groceries. Because I went to the grocery store today. I didn't get much. But I paid a lot. But I didn't get a whole lot. And that's how it's been for a while. But they're claiming that if you can't afford groceries, that's just misinformation. That's just a figment of your imagination. Anyway, I'm just going to stay here. I got some good ones here. Let me see if I can find a good one. I will say this. I love this one. This was actually a while back, and I think I'm not sure who posted this, but it was pretty good. I bet Canada. I saw Cindy Mack in the house earlier tonight. She may be out there. I know we got some other Canadian folks, but I bet y'all feel like y'all were living in an apartment above a meth lab. I think you're probably feeling that, right? You probably are. Here is Steve Bannon right here, by the way, folks, and this is sad. A judge sent Steve Bannon to prison, ignoring a congressional subpoena. Hunter did the same thing. No prison. Fauci lied under oath. No prison. Merrick Garland lied under oath. No prison. Merrick Garland said, I'm not going to open him. No prison. The double standard is real. Americans will see that, and why Trump will win 100 million votes. We'll see about that. I hope he does, but I don't think he's going to be that much. But it's a good possibility he can if everybody get out and vote. We won't even have 100 million people to vote. Anyway, this is an old one, but this is a good one. Some of you may have remembered this one from years past. Fauci emails exposed, this was a few years ago, lies, fraud, flip-flops, and deceit. That's Hillary. Ha ha ha, you idiot. Some of you will get that. Now I'm gonna lighten the mood here a little bit. Oh, by the way, speaking of that laptop, Hunter Biden, the disinformation, it was introduced as evidence in the prosecution in the gun case, by the prosecution in the gun case. And do you remember, this is Timmons, Representative Timmons, do you remember when Joe Biden, Washington Democrats, and the liberal media denied the existence of that laptop for years? Well, if it didn't exist, I guess the prosecution was doing a Milli Vanilli and doing a ghost laptop, because they sure did introduce it as evidence. But You can't. Where's Jason Miller at tonight? I hope he's out there. You can't make this stuff up. 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 All right, I'm going to turn my volume down just a little bit. A couple of other things, and then we're going to play some videos. By the way, this is a touching story tonight. Ellie Golan, this young lady, was burned alive by Hamas terrorists on October the 7th. She graduated medical school yesterday. And that's off the X, the Twitter, former Twitter. And our congratulations to Ellie. She's her husband Ariel and their 18-month-old. She's now a doctor. And our congratulations to her. And there's her beautiful baby. They had to X the baby's face out for security reasons. But congratulations to Dr. Golan. And I'm sure there's other stories like that tonight. Very, very uplifting story in relation to what happened. Couple of things. Here is the Biden economic reality, folks. You know, it's funny. They keep telling us how good this economy is, and I'm going to get your take on this. 63 banks tonight, folks. 63 banks are on the brink of default in this country tonight. Did you realize that? 63. $500 billion tonight during this 4 years. The banks have wrote off in losses. $500 billion. That's $500 billion. Our GDP, folks, is in the trillions. $500 billion under Joe Biden. Decline in GDP growth. Our economy has not grown any. In the 4 years Biden's been in office, we've had no growth. And our debt has skyrocketed beyond words. Inflation. Every one of us are experiencing that tonight. Gas has sort of stabilized a little bit because the holiday's over. But I do not think it's going to last. It's going to shoot right back up. We got July 4th coming. Summertime. People are traveling. That's going to start going back up. 50% of Americans. This goes back to the confidence people have in the economy. And that goes a long way to spending. It goes a long way to savings. It goes a long way to investing. It goes a long way in how people handle their money and whether they spend it or they hoard it and they keep it and ride out the storm. But 50% believe a recession is on the way soon. I'm not so sure we're not in it already. And I don't know for sure, and again, maybe they're not, maybe they are. I have a feeling they're messing with these numbers anyway. We can't be sure of the numbers we're getting. I sure don't trust them. And I don't think anybody out there trusts them either. The lowest mortgage demand, in other words, people are not buying homes. The lowest time we've ever had this kind of low mortgage demand in the last 30 years. People they can't afford a house. Can't afford it. Now, if you're a seller, it's good for you. But if you sell your home, you better be sure that if you're going to live somewhere else, unless you're going to rent, you're going to get pretty much cringed on the other side. So you may make a profit from selling your home now, but profit's not going to do you any good because you're going to have to walk right back into a bad mortgage situation for the next one until these rates go down. NATO is anticipating war. We're fomenting that with our actions. And unguarded and open borders, folks, that's the Joe Biden economy. And these figures tonight, folks, are a joke about this 272,000 jobs. They're going to play this up this week. I'm telling you, they will try to tell you that this economy is strong. I will tell you tonight, it is nothing close to being strong. It is nothing close to being strong. All righty, a couple of funny ones, and then we're going to play a video or two for you tonight. And by the way, let's see here. What's a good one here? Oh, I think I should send you this one, show you this one. This is a good one. By the way, these are the leaders of history that have had their political opponents arrested, and we can add another one to the lady in Mexico, but she didn't have her opponents arrested. She had them shot. 37 of them were found dead before they could be voted on in the election in Mexico. That's how they run elections now down there. Whew! But Mussolini, Hitler, Mao Zedong, Joseph Stalin, Idi Amin, Fidel Castro, Pol Pot, and the current inhabitant of the White House. We've never had what happened to President Trump ever, folks. We've never had an ex-president convicted of crimes. Not criminally. Not criminally. Nixon would have probably been impeached. Bill Clinton was impeached for sexual things, but didn't get really convicted. He got impeached for it. Trump has never gotten impeached in Congress, but they got him in that courtroom in New York. But I'm hoping the situation that we talked about earlier is going to cause that to fall apart. But those are the 7 worst dictators in history, and Joe Biden can add his name to that list now. He can add his name to that list. I was in Uganda, 1994, right after Amin had been disposed, and it was a circus down there. It's stabilized now, but it was a circus. All right, now, a couple of other things, and then we're going to change gears with you. You're going to laugh at this one. You're going to laugh at this one. I'll just let the meme speak for itself. I'm probably going to have to change my name after this. This is President Barack Obama. How could you have married that man? And Melania, I'll just let the cartoon speak for itself. I'll let the cartoon speak for itself. That is why I was born with my heart on my sleeve, a fire in my soul, and a mouth that I cannot control. That's why I do the McFiles every night. That is why I do the McFiles every night. I posted this back in the summer of 2020. I might as well go ahead and get it out of the way for the summer of 24. But when the Antifa Black Lives Matter folks start burning the buildings down, when Trump gets basically vindicated on these court trials, y'all better save some buildings for November. Because you're going to need something to burn, not only when he gets vindicated from these court cases, but when he gets reelected. I'll just leave that one alone. I'll just leave that one alone. You better do that. Here's a couple of thought provokers. And this is a good one tonight. And then I'm going to share your video, and then I'm going to take your questions. And this is life in general. People are often unreasonable, illogical, and self-centered. Now, a lot of other things, forgive them. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, and people may accuse you of selfish motives and slander your good name, be kind anyway. Be kind anyway. If you are successful, you will win some false friends and some true enemies. Succeed anyway. Succeed anyway. If you are honest and sincere, people will take advantage and deceive you. Be honest and sincere anyway. When you spend years building, someone can destroy it overnight and try to. Build anyway. Build anyway. If you find serenity and happiness, somebody out there is going to be jealous of that. Be happy anyway. Be happy anyway. The good you do today, people will often forget tomorrow, and they do. Let me encourage you tonight. Do good anyway. Do good anyway. Give the world the best that you have, and it may never be enough. Give them your best anyway. And I think that's a good McFile Friday advice. What you say? Can you put some fire in the house on that one tonight? Hey, I got some videos I want to show you. And one or two, I don't have time to go through all of them tonight. But there is one funny one. I got to show you this one. This is from Johnny Carson many years ago, 1982. I'm going to turn the volume on because you got to listen to this. He was interviewing Joey Lawrence. He's little Joey Lawrence, 1982. And he was asking him, did he watch The Tonight Show? I'm going to let the video play. And I've got a feeling that the day's going to come that I'm going to ask one of my grandchildren, did you ever watch Grandpa's show? And I've got a feeling that the reaction is probably going to be the same. Roll the tape, and enjoy Joey Lawrence and probably the reaction of Elias, David, McDonald, and Ezra.
Have you ever seen this show before?
Well, when I was up vomiting and all that stuff.
We like to get them sick early, and then they can kind of go up with the show.
That's what we do. We get you sick early, and you grow up with the show. For 7 years now. For 7 years now. That was a cute clip. I've always loved that clip. I've always laughed, especially as talk show hosts. We can relate to that. We hope we're not making you sick. We hope that you're enjoying the McFiles, and you have been. This is an interesting clip right here. If I can find it, I thought we had it. Oh, this is a good one. This is a really good one. Do you remember this? Do you remember this? It's Friday night. It's 10:13. You ain't got nothing to do. We've only been going 1 hour. We got another. We're going to get your comments. But do you remember this? Watch this.
Remember this?
You are the unvaccinated. You are the problem. It is the unvaccinated who are the problem. Period. End of story.
The only people that you can blame, the only people you can blame, this isn't shaming, this is the truth. Maybe they should be shamed, but the unvaccinated.
It's time to start blaming the unvaccinated folks, not the legal folks.
Anyone you came into contact with will blame you, as will the rest of us who've done the right thing by getting vaccinated.
Because frankly, we know that we can't trust the unvaccinated.
I think it's time to get our moral house in order, Anderson. It's the unvaccinated who are the threat.
All the vaccinated folks are going to start wearing masks to protect the unvaccinated folks. It's called a Christian value.
Let me stop it right there. That's why Christians get a bad name. It wasn't a Christian value. There was nothing Christian about what happened with the mask and the mandates, and Fauci as much as said so. Folks, it was all planned. It was, every bit of it was planned. Every bit of it. But the people that were getting blamed for the virus, the coconut cake virus, was the unvaccinated. And Mrs. Claire McCaskill, from Missouri, says it was a Christian value to blame the unvaccinated. That if you got vaccinated, that was a Christian thing to do. And let me tell you something, folks. There's a lot of preachers that were right there echoing that same dumb blank sentiment. Roll tape.
You're basically punishing the vaccinated for the sins of the unvaccinated.
Really?
People are not behaving honorably. The unvaccinated are basically saying, well, it's open season for me and I can do whatever I want as well.
The unvaccinated are basically beating their breasts, running around the country saying, we don't care.
We don't care. We are living free. Mike Steele, by the way, he was the former head of the Republican National Convention. And you blanking right, we live free. We don't want your vaccine.
Living free and so forth.
We've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin.
The unvaccinated, a group that includes children and people acting like children. And the rest of us are starting to get pissed off.
This is not about freedom or personal choice.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. No, it was about personal choice. I didn't care if you got vaccinated, to be frank with you. If you wanted to stick yourself with it, stick yourself with it. We never told you on this show not to get vaccinated, but what I did tell you, if you didn't want to get vaccinated, that's your choice. I personally did not want the vaccine. I would never take, I've never been vaccinated by any. I had my doctor appointment yesterday, and first words out of the nurse's mouth, have you got your shingles vaccination this year? Nope. Have you got your flu vaccination this year? Nope. Have you gotten some other vaccination they're pushing out? I said, nope. And she looked at me, she says, you don't get vaccinated? I said, nope. And I could tell she was snickering and smirking as she was writing it down. She says, are you one of these that don't like to get vaccinated? I said, well, if that's what you want to call me, I guess so. But the answer is no. Chris's personal preference was I wasn't going to take it. And I'll just let the science, you know, they were always complaining about the science, the science, the science, the science, the science. Well, these people were not blaming it on science. They were blaming it on you and I here that didn't get vaccinated. And that proved to be totally false. That was a false lie, folks. Again, that goes back to people believing what the media said and giving into the pressure of the media and the pressure of the government and the pressure of companies. And I know some of you that's listening to me tonight, some of you lost your jobs over it. Some of you lost your careers over it. Some of you lost family members over it. Some of you hadn't seen a family member at Thanksgiving and Christmas since because of the division that it caused when families and people wouldn't let you come to turkey dinner because you weren't vaccinated. I get it. It's because this crap got in people's minds. But I want you to remember that. Because they're going to do it again. They're going to do it again. It may not work this time, but I don't doubt they're going to try. I don't doubt they're going to try. I don't doubt they're going to try. By the way, this is a while back. This was Maya Angelou before she died. I want you to watch how she handles this young lady. This is good stuff. I felt led to play this one tonight. I got one or two more, and then we'll take your questions. Watch this.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Maya her views on interracial relationships.
Thank you. And first, I'm Miss Angelo.
Miss Angelo.
Yes, ma'am. I'm not Maya. I'm 62 years old. I have lived so long and tried so hard that a young woman like you or any other you have no license to come up to me and call me by my first name.
Thank you.
That's first. That's first. Also because at the same time I am your mother, I'm your auntie, I'm your teacher, I'm your professor. You see?
You just told her that she should call you Ms. Angela. Is that part of the problem in this culture that we have? There's not enough discipline, there's not enough respect?
I only think that the children know only what we teach them. If there is something wrong in the generations, last two generations, which did not carry on the tradition. And I think this is true not just in the black community, this is true in the white community, in all the communities. We have not taken the children to our knees and told them the truth. Darling, here's the way it is.
Come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. By the way, this is good. I don't know where Leslie Millie's at tonight. I know she would laugh at this. I laughed at this. This is the illustrious former President Bill Clinton talking about conspiracy theories and people that push him. Watch this. By the way, good for you, Maya Angelou. God rest your soul. Rest in peace. She told that young lady right. She told the young lady right. She's right. We have not taught our kids to respect authority and adults. That's why they act how they act. Listen to Mr. Bill tell us about the Trump supporters. Watch this.
We are in great shape for the next 24 years, 20 or 40 years.
Let me, hang on. This is why I'm going to be glad I'm on radio. Because I can play this clip on radio and my face will betray my feelings about this. I would mouth something about this right now, but you can see what I'm saying, so I'm not going to do that. Can you believe he just said that? This country is in good shape. Now, he said this just recently. For the next 24 years. For the next 24 years. Here's Bill again.